meeting to order. And if you would please stand for the invocation by Councilman Buddy Fowler.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody today. Let's bow our heads. Our Father, we come to you today asking you for your guidance and thanking you for the many blessings you've brought in each of our lives. Father, we ask you to continue to work and help this country, help mend all those lives that need mending. Father, we know through you all things are possible. We ask you to continue helping us, helping our citizens, and help, Father, please bring the soldiers that are overseas home safely. Be with their families as their loved ones are away. Father, be with those that are here in the States as well. We ask you to continue to guide us and lead us, Father. We ask all these things in your most precious name. Amen.
Amen. And if Mayor Pro-Tem Don Helms will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we'll move forward with our items on our council work plan items.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to add something to the agenda.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to add an update from administration and charter language, and also modular homes discussion item.
Do I have a second?
What is the, can I ask what the update with the charter is? What is the discussion we want to have?
The language that's in our charter and bring us up to date. We got stuff scattered all over everywhere.
Okay. I'll second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. We'll put that under as item number 7.
It'll be
7 and 8.
So charter 7, mobile homes 8.
Modular home number 8.
I'm sorry. Modular homes.
Big difference.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 1, annexation, and I'm going to look at Carla to move us forward.
This is a petition for its parcel identification number 42363153390000. It's 12734 Highway 50, Hampstead, and this is a 1.8 acre parcel that's asking to be annexed, and this is for the resolution to direct the clerk to investigate.
I make a motion that she investigate it.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Item 2, communications position reclassification. Kyle, are you going to handle that?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Mayor and Council. The next 2 items are sort of inherently tied together. The first one being a reclassification of the communications position within the town. It's being requested that this position be reclassified from a grade 9 back to a grade 7. This was currently set as a director position, and it would be changed to a specialist and work under the admin department. So I would need council's approval to approve that pay and grade classification, and then the second item tied to this will be the budget ordinance amendment that will move all budgeted funds within that department back to admin for the remainder of the fiscal year. But the first item for action would be to have consensus to change the pay and grade classification for this position.
I make a motion we do so.
Just need a consensus on it?
Consensus
Just
or
a
motion?
consensus.
I'm good. Reclassify?
It'll go to the March regular agenda.
And then we have a motion in March. Okay, thank you, Kyle.
Any further discussion from anyone?
Good.
Everyone's in agreement. We'll move on to the next item. Item number 3, the budget ordinance amendment for communications.
All right, so as previously noted, this would be to transfer the amount of funds available within that Fund 10445 Department back into administration, which is 10420. The total amount available for the remainder of the fiscal year is $42,207.70. So just seeking a consensus to be able to move that money after approval at your March 7th meeting.
So moved.
That's just a consensus again?
Yes, ma'am.
Any discussion? Moving on to item number 4.
I'll cover this budget ordinance amendment again. So it was documented that there was an error occurring dating back to 2017. Essentially, retirement funds for 2 police officers, one that's no longer with us, but was being withdrawn from their paycheck, but not being put into the state system. So in order to rectify that issue, we need a budget ordinance amendment to cover that deficit. So the grand scheme of things, we have not lost money. However, it was not going into the correct location, and we need to fix this issue as it was brought to our attention.
Need a motion or a census?
Just a consensus, and we'll get this moved to March 7th, and then the action, we can then handle it after that.
Kyle, on that, which is the finance thing, taken out and going to moving, has that been consistent from 2017 to this current time?
That's correct. So you have multiple fiscal years where that action was occurring, and that money was essentially being put into the general fund as opposed to actually going into the retirement system where it should have gone.
Now, did this have any negative impact on this person's retirement account?
Not to my knowledge, Chief. I don't know if you have any background information on that.
Because it's clearly our fault.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The officer that brought that to my attention brought it to me and said, I have zeros in my retirement account when he got the statement. And we immediately went to Wendy and started asking questions why it was a zero. She started to investigate. Apparently it hadn't been coded correctly is what happened. And the funds were coming out but not going to his retirement account. As far as the interest and what that would accrue on those funds over time, I can't answer that question. I don't know. I can investigate and find out. But after that happened, I contacted all of my staff and told them everybody needs to check their retirement, and that's when number 2 was found, and we had to go from there. But it was a substantial amount of money. But I can certainly talk to the officer and find out if he was made whole in that situation.
Yeah, we need to, Kyle, you need to do that because of our inability to get things in the right place. But they shouldn't be punished. So
I agree.
we need to make good whatever it is we've done, and I'm good with doing that and making sure that it's whole, that they're not left short.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
We don't need to pass anything until everything's.
I can, what we'll do is we'll update, if there is an update necessary, we'll have that update to you before the council meeting. If there's additional funds, a consensus to move this item to March 7th shouldn't delay anything, and we'll make sure we get that rectified for you.
Any other discussion? If not, moving forward to item number 5, budget ordinance amendment for administration.
All right, this is just a follow-up from our closed session item on February 7th to identify the funds to come from reserve to go into admin to cover council's action that was taken for employee bonuses.
Motion or consent?
Just a consensus to move it to March 7th.
Therefore.
Any other discussion? The next item is going to be number 6, parking season pass.
All right, moving right along. So as you know, our parking management program will begin March 1st. We were scheduled to have our work session where we would have discussed end-of-year parking to go over some of these things, but that got pushed back a little bit. So I'm requesting that council consider, based off a recommendation, to move forward with increasing the seasonal pass rate from $250 to $300. And specifically, the town did not make any adjustments to the season pass rate last year, even though we did increase certain premium parking areas from $3 to $5. So as noted in the documentation to you, the average length of text to park is approximately 3.5 hours. So using that data from Pivot would equate to approximately 17 visits at a $5 parking space and approximately 29 visits at a $3 parking space over the 8-month parking management season. So we feel that the $300 season pass fee would be in line with the length of parking season and parking management implemented for the town. So therefore requesting that adjustment for this year. And well, I won't really go there, but this would not affect the discounts that we currently provide to our veterans, senior citizens, and landowners in our ETJ. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions if the board has any.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So is the increase, obviously I'm not as familiar with board business yet, but so the increase is for non-residents?
That's correct.
So the residents' fees stay the same?
Our residents, we give them 2 free parking passes, and then anything, they're eligible to get 2 more at $100 a piece, but that's it. No other fee would be adjusted, for the parking fee schedule, and that's shown within the packet, but anybody can obtain a season pass. There's no requirement of proximity of living within Surf City or whatnot. So this is a pretty popular option that we provide. Not every beach community that does parking, paid parking, even offers a season pass. Last year we sold a little over 700, about 715 season passes for the program, and we're going to cap that at 750 just because of the ratio of available parking spots to actual season passes. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other? So motion to approve from 250 to 300. Any other discussion?
The discounts, Kyle? The discounts were on the 250, is that correct, for those veterans, senior citizens, and landowners, correct, ATJ?
That's correct.
So is that the discount on that 250, or now they're going to be a discount on the 300s?
Correct. So the discount will remain consistent at 10%. So regardless of the overall cost, that 10% would still be applied to that season pass rate. So it'd be an extra $5 off.
Second it.
Yeah, I'm good.
We need a second on the motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that oppose, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Item number 7, regarding charter language. I'm going to look at Mr.
Madam Mayor,
Fowler.
could I speak on that?
Yes, sir.
This is one of the items that I asked to be added to the agenda. And we have been, as a council, we've been negligent over the years. Back in the 1991, June 4th, 1991,
Just a point of order, by negligent, you're not referring to legally negligent?
No,
Okay.
this-
Thank you.
just us not doing our housework.
I just want to make sure the minutes reflect that you weren't making a legal conclusion. Thank you, sir.
Back in June 4th, 1991, the codification and approval of the town charter was done again. And at that time, we went from, I think it was from a council or manager-council to a council-manager. Anyway, when we switched over, the language in that, under 160, Section 160 from the legislature, said that we could no longer be called commissioners. And we've been confused as some of our paperwork that we have on file still lists us as commissioners. And according to that, when we went over in 91, we're supposed to be called councilmen. And that is in the minutes. If you go back in, you can pull it up. And everything's possible this day and time because we live in a digital world and everything's easy to be pulled up and looked at. But I think we need to, we've had our zoning ordinances updated. We've had most of our things updated. I think it's time for us as a council to update our information that we have on file and clear out our old files and put something in place that is reflective of exactly what we're doing and the procedure we're taking and how we're operating and what we're operating under. I know that it was by accident that I found out that some of the things we have on file, and this is by no means pointing fingers at anybody, it's just the fact we haven't done our duty as far as house chores. And we need to pull those files and update them and get rid of all those things. Our whole charter language that we have, we need to go in and where it says commissioners and change it to council. And by that, if I'm correct in this, whenever they 160 A on through, I think Mr. Edens, our attorney, they gave certain expectations and certain authority to the town when it was chartered, and gave us the right to follow within those parameters and change anything that we saw fit and needed fit to make us work and move along in a smooth manner. And that includes our agendas and all, but we need to bring everything up to date. I know here lately we've talked about changing the order of our agendas and what we do. If you go back and look at our original charter and the agenda we had at that time, to make that hold and to make what we need to do, all we need to do is go in and look at that and add at the bottom, closed session. That's where it should be, because we've got the other 5 or 6, I can't remember what it is, listed there. But I think we need to look at that and give our town clerk the responsibility of going back in and working with our town manager and pulling all these old things we have on file that is incorrect and updating our charter language, updating all we've got to, and we need to hold off on changing or doing anything until we get that brought back to us with all the language changed and the things that we need to be put in there. Because, like I say, we can put anything that we've been given authority by the legislature to do, and that is part of our charter. And when we do that, we can codify that, and then from that point on, hopefully every piece of paper we've got in file, as well as our digital things, will all line up, and we will be where we need to be updated wise. And we will all know where we're at and what we're doing. Because if we don't do this, we have, I think even among us board members here, we have some false perceptions of what we think is correct and what is correct, or what we think we can do and what we can't do. And when you have false perception, that can lead to negligence in some things. And it also leads to some procedural, we've had some procedural deviation, which can all foster a sense or perception of not being transparent. And I know everybody on this council wants to be transparent. So we need to do this so that we have this out there. And because if we don't, all these other things that I've mentioned fosters chaos and lack of transparency from a perception standpoint from our community, as well as personally from me, as I look at it, because we need to come into this and do that. And I would like to see us give it some thought, if you'd like to, and take it up at the, March meeting? Yeah. No, yeah, take it up at the March meeting and look at it, but this is something that our town clerk, and I think probably most of you would, it would pay all of us to go back and read the charter, original charter, and see what the guidelines it spells out, and look at it, see if there's anything in that we need to, or you would like to clarify or get some clarification on, or either do away with or add to. As I said, once we were granted a charter, with that charter came certain responsibilities and certain authority from the state legislature. And we do have that power. And sometimes what we think and what is actually legal and true are two different things, as we all know, even in our own households. But that's what I wanted to bring up and what I'm going to put on the charter when I talked about updating our charter language. I don't know how you all feel. You can open it up for discussion, Mr. Mayor, if you want to.
Well, if I may, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
We do have certain statutory authority to amend our charter. If you're talking about amendments that have already occurred and us just reconciling those amendments with the actual language of the charter, that's one thing. If you're talking about amending the charter, there's a 45-day notice period. After, there's a procedure we have to follow that we will not be able to meet by March 7th. So we can do it. It's just, I think someone mentioned March 7th and the math doesn't work out, at least.
Yeah, all we're talking about is codifying the language we've got in there, clearing it up, striking out some of those words like commissioners for council that we're supposed to already have done and haven't done. It's not changing the charter.
Just making it consistent with
Right.
prior charter amendments.
Right.
Yes, that could likely be, I'll defer to Mr. Brewer and the town clerk, but
Yeah, Madam Mayor, if I may, in this, so what we have through American Legal, which is our contracted codification company, what's available online seemingly is inconsistent with actions that have been taken by this board, even as recently as 2018. And what I think the clerk and I would be more than happy to do is pull all that, find where this council has taken this item up in the past, and present that all back to you in comparison to what is available online to even read, which I believe is probably incorrect. Very minor things. I don't want to, raise any major red flags about it, but just as a consistency, as Councilman Fowler was saying, and house cleaning, we can kind of show what is available to us online and then what council action has occurred, just to make sure that this entire board understands what those changes were, and maybe that's the procedure that we can take to make sure that everybody up here is understanding of what that charter, what the charter and the rules of procedure, both of those documents contain, and then suggestions of edits, et cetera, can come from council, and then we can take that back and draft it again and bring it back to you. But to the attorney's point, there's a lot of things that are very strictly governed by the general statutes as to what we can do, and I would anticipate this coming up in our work session so that we can go over these types of things, but not taking any action, Mr. Attorney, on just
Sure.
to give you a ease of mind there.
Can we do this in the, our workshop in Wilmington?
This is something that has to be done by Kyle and Carla.
Yeah, we
can
can,
go
we
back
can,
to
for the first phase of this, I think we absolutely can at least show the reconciliation of the actions that occurred in the past and what we have in, through American Legal. That would be a process that, yeah, absolutely, we can do and have just a few minutes to go over that.
Okay.
and
Time frame?
I just want to clarify.
Can you turn the time frame?
To both Mr. Fowler and Mr. Brewer's point, I think there's all kinds of disclaimers on American Legal, but the town acts through this board's actions, and our minutes are the official record of the town's actions. So if there's an inconsistency with American Legal, that does not make what we've done here unlawful or improper. But to avoid confusion, I do think it's prudent to reconcile everything. So, because these days, most people go to American Legal or Muni Code to look, they don't come in and look at our actual books.
And that's all I'm asking, you know, when I said to do, I'm not looking for it to start or give us the thing on March 7th. It's not going to be able to be done. But I think we need to clean our own house up. We've had other departments and zonings cleaned up and updated, and we need to do the same with ours.
Thank you, Buddy. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, so, Mr. Fowler, 100% agree with you. However, I do want to make a point that, I know you talked about the council being negligent. I had come to you and the former mayor at least 3 or 4 times asking for the charter to be revisited and reviewed. I had read it. Teresa, Mayor Batts and I have read that charter from start to finish over the last 5 years and knew the charter needed some adjustments. So, I know you talk about false perception and not transparent. That was the reason we did that. I don't know why now the urgency for that when I've been asking for that for 5 years. So I'm just saying is I'm not questioning you. I just don't know why now when I've asked for that process over and over again. So and I haven't neglected that process. So please in that aspect, this council, myself have not neglected that. So
My reference to that was the fact that we have broken from procedural. I'm an old stickler about following procedure and doing things and following protocol, and we have deviated from that as a council, and we have not followed through as a council on doing our things. And if we go back and read the original charter, we as council people have a charge, and it does not always rest with the mayor. That's basically when you read all these things.
Do you have any specifics where
No,
we've not?
I don't. It's just something that we need to do a washing and hanging on the line. That's basically what I'm saying.
Well, I'm for it. I'm 100% for it. I just wish we would have done that 3 years ago when I requested it. I think there was some urgency then for that process. So.
Again, I just want the minutes to be clear on what we're saying here. We have followed our charter as amended.
Absolutely.
There is just an inconsistency with what's on American legal and what's reality. Because this could be construed as we've somehow acted ultra vires or outside of our authority, which we have not. We just need to reconcile a third-party entity's the reflection of our charter and what the General Assembly's reflection of our charter is. We've acted pursuant to the actual charter. I just don't want the minutes to look like we violated our charter.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Edens. My whole point in bringing it up has nothing to do with the other legal thing. This has to do with what I call in-house cleaning.
Yes, sir.
And straightening this stuff. This council and this town has not done anything illegal. It's the perception that's out there. It's the perception from some of our that we have not done our due diligence, that we should have done in certain things in certain times. And some of that could have been 3 years ago, Mr. Sugar, when you were talking about. But this is in-house keeping, house cleaning. That's what we need to do, and we need to be consistent. When we put a document out there from this council in this town, it should be consistent with what we've got on our books, and it can be consistent across the page, it can be consistent with our website, and we don't have that now.
Agreed.
Well, and my only point is, you know how lawyers can be. They see black and white, a white piece of paper with black words on it in the minutes. If we don't clarify what we're talking about here, someone could say even the town acknowledged they didn't follow their charter, which is not what we're saying here. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, we follow the charter. It's just that we want to upgrade the language in the charter.
Thank you, sir.
We just need a consensus on doing some house cleaning on the charter. Everybody in agreement?
Yes.
All right, moving forward, item number 8 that was added to the agenda, modular description.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor, I asked that to be added as well. The modular homes, in our zoning ordinances, we have manufactured homes, mobile homes, but we have nothing to cover modular homes, and these come in on some of our streets. And we need to have something in our code of ordinances that will address the modular homes. that are coming in, because I can see those, actually, there's been 3 that I know I'll put on my street that I'm in, and I think there's 2 more coming. And there's some others across the town and across the Surf City area. But right now, they can't get a permit from DOT to travel the roads of DOT as a mobile home. And as long as they're on, they come in on 2 trucks. 2 trucks is a house, because it takes both of those halves to make that mobile home, that modular home. When they come in, I gave you a good example yesterday. The street that we were on, they blocked the street basically 2/3 of the day, totally. We had parents that has, I guess I want to call them daycare, but they have, their kids are being looked after by some of the residents on our street. They had to park up at the front and walk down the road to get their kids and walk by this construction that had the road closed. When this crane that came in lifted the house, that house went over a home that was right side of the other place they were placing the home on. That crane put that house, half of that mobile home, half of that modular home over that house. In that house was a young man that had severe mobility problems. He could not go and come. If they'd have been an accident, there'd have been 2 fatalities in that house. And the least, if they'd have came through us, they'd have had permits, bonding, and other stuff, and the neighbors would have been notified. The neighbors down there, the one the house went over, was not contacted at all about it. And whenever they started with the house, they told him they wouldn't be over his that much. It'd be part of it, but it was. And it's a safety issue that we need to certainly look at. And I think we need to get our planning department and code enforcement officer and our manager to come up with something to add. We need to add modular homes to our zoning ordinance and let them come up with something to cover that. Basically, everything that the other house moving does covers that. But anytime they pull off of DOT roads, they're on a Surf City street. If they tear that street up or that heavy crane comes in and breaks the concrete and stuff, we have no way of recovering the funds we'd have to spend to take care of that. If they went through the permitting process, there is a way we can do that, because it is spelled out in that. And it gives our police department, yesterday when they were in there, the only people that knew they were in there was the ones that's on Atkins Point Road, because they couldn't go and come, and the neighbors right side of them. Our police department was not aware of it. Our planning department was not aware of it, because we don't have anything on the books that covers that, and we need to get that on the books. I think it's very important because, like I say, it's a safety issue, and it's also a financial issue if there is some things coming and done. And they can get up with these future homes and some of these other modular home builders and let them know that we do now have or going to have an ordinance, if that's what this council so desires to have. We can have an ordinance on the book that requires them to get a permitting process, which personally I think they should have. And that's why I asked to have the modular homes put on the agenda to give us some chance to discuss it and see how y'all feel. I know how I feel, because it was a safety issue, and we get these phone calls whenever the roads are blocked and your residents can't come and go. And if there had been an emergency on our street yesterday when all that equipment was there was no way for them to get around. And that would have been terrible.
I have a question. Okay, so when you bring in a mobile home, it's basically on a trailer, or the trailer's underneath it?
No, a mobile home is on their own wheels.
Okay, wheels. So it
Takes
just,
it on one side of the road.
and you just bring it in and put it on the lot?
Right.
Jag it up, and it's done. This sounds like it's more of a do that type of thing in 2 sections, but it's also requires a lot of construction.
They have to have a crane. They have to have everything set up, just like the poles, the pylons, and all. And they bring this. It's a mobile home. If you look at it from the standpoint, they put it on a flatbed, and they got half of that modular home being transported. The other half of that modular home is transported on another flatbed. When both of those flatbeds get there, or the homes, whatever, there's no way around that street. And that crane, that big heavy crane that comes in, that has to lift those up, puts extra pressure on our streets and our asphalt that can cause problems. And the safety end of it is what I was stressing, because anytime we have something like that going on in the town, I would expect our town to know about it. Our police department, our town administration, our planning department. No one knew anything about this except DOT and the modular home people. And if we'd have been, like I say, if they'd have been an accident, heaven forbid, there's ever an accident anywhere, but we'd have had some fatalities and we'd have had no recourse, and the fingers would have all been pointing in our direction.
So it basically puts us into a liability standpoint, wouldn't you say? On if something happened, because it seems like if you have a mobile home, you're just bringing it in, putting it in, and it takes a little bit of time, where this sounds like it's a little bit more complex.
Yeah, we got an orders for mobile homes, but we don't have anything for modular homes.
I understand that. That's what I'm saying. So it's not really two the same things. This modular home thing is a different thing. It's like
Exactly.
A mobile home actually has a VIN number. A modular home does not have a VIN number. A mobile home is considered to be personal property until it is attached
okay, so
and released from its, like a registration.
okay.
I got a question. All right, so are we talking about, I can't help but think that you got to have a building permit for a modular home. Would that not- As far as you would a house, if you wanted to put a structure on a lot, you would have to have some kind of permit for inspection process. Is that not true?
Yeah.
All right, so are we talking about, when you say permit, are we talking about, and I'm cool with it, I'm down with what you're saying, I just want to make sure I understand. So are we talking about a different type of language to the permit associated with a modular to say, hey, this is the checklist you have to do, you have to notify this, you
That's what
have
we're
to have,
talking
you
about,
have to have
Mr.
road
Campbell.
personnel,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a whole different animal.
I'm asking for a section to be added strictly for modular homes that can give us some control and some leeway in doing things.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Any further discussion? Would we, do we need a consensus or a motion?
Consensus.
To direct staff to come back with an ordinance, just a consent, I believe just a consensus.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Everybody agree?
I do.
And I'm through, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. I'll look over to Kyle and see if he has anything else to add to.
I've got just the departmental updates that we'll go through real quick, and again, these are just updates from the first update that we started at the beginning of the calendar year. So, IT, let's roll. Awesome. All right. So I'll just breeze through these things, and of course, this is available to you. And if you have any questions, please stop me, and I will try to answer them. So we'll start with the police department. Again, total calls for service, pretty much in line. Business checks, that should be January. We're pretty close. We did a drug drop box where we take all the collected drugs and take those to Carolina Beach to be disposed of appropriately. We have a few staff achievements in the police department. Sergeant Cowie and Sergeant Hartsfield completed their tactical leadership training at the Justice Academy. MPO Failing was able to take narcotics from over 45 closed cases to Carolina Beach, as noted. Chief Voorhees attended the conference for North Carolina Chiefs Police Association in Cherokee. And Chief also attended active shooter response seminar at the SBI headquarters in Raleigh. Current goals and projects, so they completed the 2022 year in review and community policing report, which you all have copies of. Participated in training for new recruitment practices at the Gastonia Police Department, which, this is something that we've been working on for recruitment purposes and bringing back some new age tricks, I would say. Create a proposal for these recruiting practices to potentially implement, and then begin creating PowerPoint presentation for myself, command staff, and HR to start looking at, and then completed multiple interviews for the Beach Patrol intern position. This is on the right, a picture of the incinerator disposing of those narcotics. And then on the left is just a picture of the PowerPoint from the training that MPO Failing went to. There's, as you all know, we got to keep up with these times, and, there's challenges not just in Surf City, but all law enforcement agencies and really local government overall. But how do we adjust to those changes? Local governments are notorious for being sort of behind in those types of things, but I do feel confident that we are getting ahead of this and are going to be able to implement some things that will hopefully help us in the long run. But one thing I looked at with this slide, texting over emailing. When we're texting people instead of sending emails, is that a trigger to talk to HR and say, how can we set notifications up when we go through an onboarding process to text a candidate or text an applicant as opposed to sending the email? Is it still compliant with law, et cetera? But just some things that the chief and his staff are working on, and certainly I'm involved with. So they did the Special Olympics fundraiser that will sort of lead up to the torch run. In May of 2023, we usually have a pretty strong presence from our police department that join other law enforcement agencies in the area. They continued the Lunch with the Law program, the community policing, and then Sergeant Cowie led the traffic task force with seatbelt and speed operation. MPO Schultz and Officer Wells participated in a checking station on January 13th. All part of the governor's crime prevention, things that we need to be doing, should be doing, but also opens up opportunities for grant funds and other programs and equipment needs that we're able to obtain through grants. These are just some pictures, Lunch with the Law, and also the fundraiser for the torch run over at Publix. Community development. So there's 14 projects in various phases of TRC, Planning Board and Council approval, 11 site plan reviews, 1 rezoning request, 2 subdivision requests. One is a 1-lot division, and then 1 major subdivision, which is on the island. Here's just kind of a snapshot as to all those projects, and then what the status of each one of those is based on color code. So, kind of that gray is in TRC. You got a pinkish color for BOA. Purple is council, blue planning board, green staff only, and then project that's on hold. So consistent with permit issuance, we did have a jump in the revenue collected, and that's because we had 12 new single-family residence permits that were issued that sort of jumped that revenue collection, whereas last month we had similar permits, but they might have been for smaller projects, additions, or renovations of something of that nature. Emergency management, James continues to work on the EOP rewrite. That's our emergency operations plan. He's meeting with town staff and departments to solicit their input and wants to get that finished by mid-March. We received confirmation the antennas and other equipment for the radio system will be installed at the end of the month. He's completing onboarding of all town facilities into the SDS program. So last year, Mr. Horn took on responsibilities of doing some risk safety for the town and has done a good job at that. One of those things is taking those 100-page binders and making these all digital. IT has now created an icon for everybody's desktop that they pushed out, so all that information is available should an incident occur, dealing with some of the chemicals, cleaning supplies, everything that we have to keep track of. Finalizing his budget, just like everybody, assisted departments in various administrative tasks such as employment application review, policy development, strategic planning, and other similar tasks. And then preparing for Severe Weather Awareness Week and happening March 5th through the 11th. So we'll work with the town to get information out on the website and social media so that we can make sure our residents are aware and get them prepared for severe weather. Fire department, we've got engine repair, so all the parts have been delivered. They're actively working to get the truck repairs finished. That's been a long project there. The fire department's working with the Safe Kids Cape Fear, hosting a free car seat check on February 24th from 10 until noon over at Station 25. So if you know folks with young kids in those car seats in the back seat, maybe they can stop by and they can check the parents on how good they are at installing those seats. They continue to work with the Helbig Foundation, and this is for the beach condition flags. We're trying to get their support and sponsorship to extend our condition flags to our accesses. Right now we focus on access 13 through 23, but that was mainly based off of the incident reports and the hotspot maps that we all looked at during the Ocean Rescue Strategic Plan process. And then Chief continues to work on the budget prep for next year. There's just a flyer that was developed for the car seat safety checks. Staff documentation, Chief Hobbs started the process getting annual swim qualifications training together, which is scheduled for May for Ocean Rescue. Also been working on securing the staffing for the upcoming beach season. Fire department working with planning department and CAMA to get the permits for the boat lift construction project. And then Fire Marshal Burton has been working on finishing his requirements for his level 3 fire inspector certification, which also includes completing level 3 inspections, and has been assisting the town of Burgaw to complete this process. So having a fire level 3 will open up his ability to inspect different types of occupancies. And the higher the level, the more complex. So you're looking at like new school construction or universities or hospitals or things of that nature. Fireworks. There you go. All right. Thank you, Chief. Firefighter Van Pelt has been working on some plans for a potential week-long fire camp this summer. So they'll have some more information coming our way. And also he's working with Lieutenant Tassi on scheduling the first public CPR course. We have taught the course to several employees, but now we are ready to offer the service to the public for CPR certification cards. You know, I think this is an awesome opportunity for the public to be a part of this important skill, help save some lives out there from day-to-day issues that might come up. IT, so the municipal complex access control system cost reduction is still underway. So Jason is resisting the multi-year contract to allow us to move to another system and save costs if discussions do not reach. The IT budget is being developed, and you know, just as a reminder, IT is not just and just have to focus on their stuff. They have to reach out to every department to understand their needs and you know, to get that into one centralized system and make sure things are compatible. We don't want different systems being operated from department to department to cause issues in the future. And then we are on a 5-year computer replacement process. So police department, the evidence system was replaced, and the roll call computer was replaced, and public utilities, their shared computer was replaced. So new projects, community center working with the Department of Plan and assist with the relocating employee workspaces, working with Jody on moving some position locations around, surveillance system research and ordering for the utilities department, and then just our general ticket system, you know, remains steady, but I'm sure with the hard work that Chris is doing back there too, they're starting to get ahead of our tickets. So Parks, Recreation, and Tourism, currently working with staff to prepare the budget, awaiting budget information from Joe Mack on potential lighting plans for various parks and recreation facilities. Jody attended the Directors Conference, meeting with vendors for current and future projects. Met with the Vice Chair of the Parks, Recreation, Tourism Advisory Committee to discuss potential lighting information for the new park. And continues to work with McAdams. They're finalizing the survey information. We'll be scheduling a project kickoff meeting that covers phases 1 and 2. She's been busy setting up interviews for vacant positions. The canoe and kayak launch maintenance is complete over at Soundside Park. Again, we had to move that to give access. It was extremely tight when you came off that gangway onto the platform. So that project has been completed. Multiple maintenance projects have been completed as they continue to prep for the upcoming season. The Welcome Event Center renovations are now complete. Updated flooring in the kitchen, IT closet, new subflooring in the storage room, new double doors at the front entrance, new kitchen doors. So everything is looking good. I personally need to get over there. If anybody wants to go over there, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to meet you. And then Wildlife has started construction on the two public fishing accesses at the Surf City Community Center. So we'll have a public freshwater fishing opportunity for our residents and visitors of Surf City. And then two new memorial benches have been installed at Soundside Park this month. One by our part-time employee Joanne in memory of her parents, and another by the Carroll family in memory of their son. So those two projects, pictures are a little grainy, but you all know what those look like. These are pictures. They put in a new split rail fence. This is going from the concession area up to the ball fields. That looks really good. And then the sites for the new fishing locations. So it should be a nice addition to that complex over there, additional opportunities. These are pictures of the Welcome Center. Just real quick, everything's looking good, nice and tidy. This is, again, construction of the fishing piers, and then this is the new the movement of the canoe and kayak launch. So when you come off of this gangway here, you actually have some room to move over and maneuver stand-up paddleboard or canoe or kayak. We got new painting on the basketball court at the Bats Park. Tater putting some mulch down, and then new deck addition over at the Roland Beach access has been very popular and well received. So that project is pretty much complete over there. So again, if you haven't been over to Roland access, you can go check that out. It looks really good. The guys did some good work on that. The committee reports, they updated the fee schedule. The tourism promotion and special events subcommittee, working with the marketing consultant to update our target to focus on Surf City as a spring break destination. Of course, targeting family-friendly beach. Bless you. Finalizing the 2023. This is a statewide effort and push for Year of the Trail, and we want to hold an event to do our part on April 29th. So. Be on the lookout for information on that. It'll probably include a small walk, probably utilizing the bridge and some other areas. And then coming up right around the corner is the Surf City Expo on Saturday, March 4th from 10 to 2. That's always a very well-attended event over at the community center. You know, something I think I've been to every year just to go check out some of the good things our local vendors have to offer. Got plenty of programs and events coming up, so you can always check the Facebook page or website if you're interested in any of these things going on. Adult tap dancing would be pretty interesting. And then some other things, toddler programming, you know, some older children programming, the schools out, so teacher workday and spring break programming, and then of course our big programming event, which is our summer camp, getting ready to kick off registration in the next couple of weeks. That is open up to employees to get any of their kids registered if they're interested. So utilities is just capital project updates, reuse and dune irrigation system, currently in the RFQ process, award schedule for March 10th. High rate infiltration project, hydrology and design complete, expected to submit for permitting within 30 days. That's a big milestone for us. Master plan revising the model, which is the core mix modeling per DEQ. Resubmittal for speculative limits to occur within 30 days. Well 6, the subaqueous crossing, Phase 1 bid out and tentatively approved by council, currently awaiting approval by DEQ. That's for the new well drilling project. SCADA upgrade, equipment constructed, propagation study is in process. Project completion expected within 45 days, and then subsurface irrigation, hydrology, and design in process. Reuse and, oh, sorry, that's a duplicate, my apologies. Brine discharge, the draft MPDES permit was received on January 12th, currently in a 30-day public comment period before receiving final permit and beginning design. The town has submitted comments concerning the draft permit, is currently awaiting final permit. Once final permit is issued, the design phase will begin. We're also seeking the ASADRA funding for this project, and the application will be submitted before May 1, 2023. On January 30th, the utility department met with engineering consultants concerning the possibility of launching another phase of the wastewater treatment plant improvements, which is a second EQ basin. Current basin is not large enough to sustain growth, so we are beginning the process of designing an additional basin. The major hurdle is the current price of the construction. Utility department looks forward to presenting this project to council in the coming months for consideration. And that will also tee us up for additional capacity once we get to that point. Other news, utility department published its annual reports for the wastewater treatment plant and collection system. The reports are available on the town website for anybody to go and look at. You know, when you look at that, you'll look at, you know, fecal coliform levels and other levels that we monitor on a daily basis, you know, to make sure that what we are presenting to our public for drinking water standards is up to that standard, and you'll see that all of those documented levels are way below what the state minimums are. So continue to do a good job in those areas, and those reports, again, will document some of that information. So facilities and grounds, we were donated 25 cigarette butt disposal canisters. Chris has been working to identify locations to install these, trying to target areas where people take the opportunity to smoke a cigarette and throw it in the street. Pedestrian crossings, so 17 locations throughout the Central Business District. This program will be at the right-of-way project. Grounds crew will be addressing all town properties located on the island to bring the town into compliance. They're getting all the beach accesses ready for the season. Grounds crew will be working on all paid parking lots to make sure they are ready for the upcoming season. They're working directly with Pivot to identify those areas. You know, some areas we might have bumpers that are buried in the sand or need new gravel in a parking lot. So all that stuff is being taken care of. They installed new play cushion and new gravel at the parks. The parking lot at the end of the bridge on the mainland side will be receiving defined parking spaces. So we're actually going to stripe that area to get some order over there with the parking as that becomes more and more popular for people to park and walk the bridge. Facilities crew will be getting restrooms ready to open up back up for the summer when paid parking kicks back into gear March 1, and then continue to keep roads clear of all debris. And typically we didn't open our restrooms until later on in the season, but we made this adjustment last year, I believe, when paid parking opened up, as we were getting some complaints in regards to bathrooms being open when people are paying to park. So they've accelerated that. So here's some pictures of Matt and Ed doing their thing over at Roland Beach Access. Again, it looks really good over there. I'd advise going and taking a look. We did get a new paint sprayer so that we can keep all of our stuff up to standards, so you can see how good that new crosswalk looks. And this is a picture of the flag program. So they're putting together just a very short video so that we can put that out to the public, explaining the process. We're not taking bets on how quick those flags will disappear, but we trust that the public will be respectful of the program and put those back in the canisters where they belong after they use them. But hopefully it's beneficial, and it's something we will monitor, and something that we are able to work on in-house to bring that. Yes, sir. Yeah, we got the template to make more, but we're not going to continue to produce them if this gets abused, unfortunately. North Shore, this is a picture just from North Shore. The road looked really good up there last week when we were up there. I think, Chris, you're fully staffed, I believe. That's a huge thing. Having to go back and focus on some heavy escarpment areas for crossovers. As you can see, they've had to splice and install some additional supports in areas. And then, again, the Kenneth Batts basketball court receiving some new paint. And that is the update for the departments. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know, and this PowerPoint will be made available to you. So that's all I got, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Cal. Appreciate that. A lot of departments doing a lot of good stuff, so we appreciate it. Any further discussion? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We are adjourned.